We have new information on the fatal wreck we told you about at 6 o'clock. And President Biden says American people need help and they need it now. We'll have the latest on the COVID relief negotiations.
AHN St. Vincent's Hospital held a clinic today for inner city seniors to get vaccinated for the coronavirus Pfizer vaccine.
In high definition from your news leader, this is 1024 Action News at 11.
We have new information on the fatal wreck in Albion. This happened around 4:20 on Route 18 south of Moses Road. According to Erie County Coroner Lyle Cook, the 35-year-old failed to negate a curve, drove into a ditch, and then was ejected from his truck. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The death is being ruled accidental due to multiple blunt force trauma. Authorities are not releasing his name until the family is notified. President Biden says the American people need help now and do not have time to wait for lengthy bipartisan negotiations. ABC's Faith Abube reports the president had hoped for bipartisan legislation but is willing to move forward without GOP support.
President Biden believes struggling Americans need help now.
If I have to choose between getting help right now to Americans who are hurting so badly and getting bogged down in a lengthy negotiation, or compromising on a bill that's up to the crisis, that's an easy choice.
Both chambers of Congress have passed a budget resolution setting up the ability for Democrats to pass the president's $1.9 trillion COVID relief package without the threat of a filibuster from Republicans.
They're not interested in doing the hard work it takes to build consensus.
At the core of the package, $160 billion for vaccinations and testing and help for small businesses, as well as $1,400 in direct payments to many Americans. The president making it clear the amount of those checks is non-negotiable.
I'm not cutting the size of the checks. They're going to be $1,400, period.
Friday's bleak jobs report underscoring the importance of getting a relief package passed. Nearly 18 million Americans are now claiming some form of unemployment, and more than 50 million people, including 1 in 4 children, are going hungry. The White House, with a new effort labeled A Weekly Conversation, will have the president communicating directly with Americans. The first video shows Biden speaking with an unemployed mother from California.
We're putting together a plan that provides for emergency relief to people who are in desperate need now.
We're so glad that we have you focusing on that.
Meanwhile, President Biden, in an interview with CBS News, saying he doesn't think his predecessor should receive intelligence briefings due to his, quote, erratic behavior.
What value is giving him an intelligence briefing? What impact does he have at all, other than the fact he might slip and say something?
The president has the authority to deny intelligence access to anyone he chooses, but stopped short of announcing he had decided to prevent Trump from receiving those briefings. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
Medical officials say inner city seniors are desperate for the COVID-19 vaccine. Julia Hazel reports on one local hospital that held a clinic today to get the Pfizer vaccine to those seniors in need.
Allegheny Health Network St. Vincent Hospital joined forces with local community and faith organizations to identify and schedule qualified individuals in need. And how for one person, this hits too close to home.
I had a family member pass away from the COVID, lived out in Albion, and so I'm thinking it's probably a good idea to, go ahead and see what happens.
Which is why AHN St. Vincent Hospital partnered with organizations to make this clinic become possible.
We're offering the vaccine to the highest risk individuals out there, people that are with advanced age greater than 75, for example, or those with chronic medical conditions for sure.
The mayor of Erie says it's important to give access to the vaccination for people who need it.
It just warms my heart today just to see all these people here. Many of them might be poor, many of them are older, but people that need this are getting it finally, which is the most important thing right now.
Now, after today's clinic, AHN St. Vincent's Hospital will overpass 10,000 vaccinations, including both doses of the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine.
It's been difficult for people to get access to the vaccine for sure. So it's such a pleasure to see the folks here today. They're so gracious and grateful for this opportunity, and we're just trying to do our part to provide more access to the vaccine.
Now, after being involved in the vaccination process, process, Henderson says he is relieved.
I'm a little relieved. I know there's a lot of people that's got to go through this. I know that there's still a lot of unknowns.
Julia Hazel, Jet 24 Action News.
The State Department of Health reports more than 130 new COVID-19 deaths. First, here are the latest COVID-19 numbers for our region. Erie County reports 66 new positive cases of COVID-19, bringing the total to 16,011. Crawford County reporting 20 additional cases. Warren County, 6 new cases. Chautauqua County is reporting a total of 6,961 cases. Ashtabula County, 23 new cases. Meanwhile, the Commonwealth reports 3,930 new COVID cases for a total of more than 865,000. There were 132 new deaths reported. The total number of COVID-19 deaths in the state now stands at 22,396. And here are the regional COVID-19 vaccination numbers. In Erie County, there have been 21,961 vaccinations. In Crawford County, 13,631 vaccinations have been performed, and in Warren County, 3,784 shots have been given. Across Pennsylvania, more than 1.2 million people have been vaccinated. Well, the Super Bowl is less than 24 hours away, but this year's event will look a lot different. ABC's Will Reeve reports from Tampa.
Sunday's game is being touted by some as one of the greatest Super Bowl quarterback matchups ever. 43-year-old Tom Brady against 25-year-old Patrick Mahomes. Brady, the winner of 6 Super Bowl titles.
This is a game that's really going to challenge us. This team is a very tough team to beat.
And Mahomes, the defending Super Bowl MVP.
It's going to be a great game with 2 great teams. And if I leave everything I have on the field for my teammates at the end of the day, I'll be happy.
Of the 75,000 seats inside Raymond James Stadium, only 22,000 will be filled with fans. The NFL inviting vaccinated healthcare workers to the big game. In this age of COVID, everyone in attendance will be required to wear a mask, maintain social distancing, and will receive a PPE kit. Tickets will be digital and all food and beverage transactions will be cashless. Another 30,000 seats will be filled with fan photos, part of the NFL's Fans in the Stands cutout program that raises money for charity. There are also going to be some changes to the halftime show. This year, the stage will be in the stands rather than on the field.
So we wanted to keep that live experience, and this year we've just figured out a different way to do that.
The Weeknd teasing his performance, releasing this clip. The Kansas City Chiefs arriving in Tampa Saturday afternoon, but without Britt Reed, son of head coach Andy Reid and also a member of the coaching staff. Reed was involved in a multi-vehicle crash Thursday night that left 2 children injured, 1 critically, according to the police report. Sources tell ESPN Reed is suffering from undisclosed injuries and was not expected to travel to Tampa. The incident is still under investigation. Will Reeve, ABC News, Tampa.
Coming up on Jet 24 Action News at 11 o'clock, one Erie County councilman is throwing his hat into the ring for county executive. That's after a first look at the forecast. Hey, Craig.
Brian, a little bit of light snow is going to come through as we go into the second half of the weekend. The forecast next.
From your news leader, you're watching Brian Wilk, meteorologist Craig Flint, and Mike Fenner with sports. This